This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, guys. So first thing that we talk about is standard template library. STL stands for standard template library. We are moving a slow. We are doing a slow transition from C language to C++. So typically, keep this thing in mind. I'm not asking you to learn C++. What I'm doing is I'm saying you know C. That is good enough. Plus, along with C, learn C in C out. That will help you. Plus STL. Built-in classes, built-in functions of STL are they improve your speed a lot. So we should learn C, C in C out, and STL. So these three things, if you learn, they will improve your speed in competitive programming. Right now, somebody posted a question to me before the class, and he was saying that when companies are visiting to college these days, companies are no more using C++ in their projects. So is it still worth investing in C++? For competitive programming, you are already doing C++. But for companies, shall we learn more C++? My answer to that would be no. For companies, you would need one more language, object-oriented language, which I will say keep it Java or Python, one of those. That will be helpful. Right? So for competitive programming, certainly you don't need to learn C++, but you need C, C in C out, and STL. So these three things is something you should be comfortable with. Right? Today also I'll take upon one or two problems, and then we will see like how that problem in C language would have taken longer time for you to think and solve, and how C++ makes it easier. So before I come there, I'll talk about some basics about these concepts, and then we will get there. Right. So let's start with the first topic, and that topic is called pair. Many programming problems of competitive programming require you to represent some information which is not a single variable. So ideally, we can declare variable X. This is kind of single variable. Some problems require you to have a pair of variables. For example, if I give you a problem, given a pair of given 2 points, find the distance between them. Although it's a problem you can do with single variables also. But imagine if you are given 2 points and you have to find the distance between them, and I say define this point P such that this has two members, P dot first and P dot second. So first should have kind of X, P dot second. So many a times these kind of things are required in programming problems where you have to represent points in some form. Although I'll not cover that question today, but I'll show you one of the questions. Closes PQ. Yeah, I'm just opening one of the question of CodeChef. You see, this is closest point queries. So what it says is, consider a set of points given in 2D space, which is initially empty. You need to process queries where insert and remove of points from it. So your points, having points which are being inserted, it's plus XY means you are adding a point, and minus XY is you are removing a point. So this problem statement is saying that in 2D plane, you are given some points. Imagine first point is 1, 1. Second point is 1, 2. Third point is 2, 3. Fourth point is 4, 4. When you have such list of points, you have to give the minimum distance between any 2 points. So consider all the pairs of points, and you have to find the minimum distance. And that is what this problem is all about. So closest point queries, and you will be asked multiple questions on that. So I'm just referring to this example because people who know pair, who know STL, for them thinking, visualizing, and solving these problems becomes easy. So this is just shared from the motivation point of view. We are not going to cover that problem. That is harder problem right now for beginners. Right? So I'll just put that here. So we should learn how do we put pairs together or a group of variables together so that we can represent a point. So it is pretty straightforward to use. I'll show you how. So for pair, you have to do hash include utility. Utility is a header file. Yes, you can use structure, Suhas, certainly. You can use structure, but when you are using structure in C language, you will have to define your own structure, point, index, or int first, int second. And then you will be using that, right? But that will require more coding. So using something built-in will be faster. So pair is a built-in structure actually, right? So what we are talking about is, see, you can create a pair without declaring that pair structure. So you can say pair of int comma int. So when pair you create, you give two data types whose value you want. So I can represent a point with this. So declaration of pair is pretty straightforward. You have to do hash include. You have to do hash include this header file. Or in C++, there is a better thing. Rather than including individual header files, there is one header file that you include. It includes all other header files for you. std c++.h. That's another benefit of C++. You do not have to remember or use individual header files. So it is always good if you have your template ready. This should be your template code that any competitive programming you are doing, just put that hash include bits std c++.h using namespace std. And one thing we also call as fast IO, because C in C out are slower. For that we use hash define fast IO, and then we say iOS sync with stdio false. If you do not understand what these lines mean, I'll say read online, but this is something that makes C in C out fast. And in fact, C in tie, C out tie. So these lines, this should be your template code for any competitive programming that you are participating in with C++. So I'll put that once the template in ID1 and share that with you. So referring that it back will be easier. Yes, I have put that there. Let me include that in notes also. So this is template C++ for competitive programming. Later on, you can add more things to it. This is a beginner's template. Yeah, you can use printf scanf, but last time I talked about when you use scanf and scene, there is a difference. Yeah, printf scanf are certainly faster, but if you see, when you use scanf to read one integer, this is what you will write, correct? And when you use scene to read one integer, this is what you will write. So out of these two, you may say, if I'm comfortable with scanf, I'll use this. But sometimes what happens, you took int n, later on you are changing it to long n. Now, if you change it long n also, scene will work. But what changes you will have to do to scanf? In scanf, you will have to put LLD. Many times we do not remember these format specifiers. So if you are well versed with scanf, I will say use it. This is faster. But if you are not well versed with scanf, here you are doing more typing. There are more. This is more error prone. Then scene C out are pretty faster and pretty easier, neat syntaxes. So this is what this will avoid a lot of mistakes, and this will help you type faster. Right? That is why I said in the beginning, prefer to use C in C out, C language plus C in C out plus STL. So these are kind of, consider it as a tip for being faster. Okay. So with our template being ready, now let's see. If I have to create a pair, three things I have to remember. Pair is declared like int. So this is pair. Now how do we assign a value to it? You create a pair with function make pair. In this make pair, you can give two values, 34, 67. So this is your pair ready. So declaration and instantiation. Right. Once your pair is ready, how do you print the values in the pair? It has p dot first and it has p dot second. Right. Yeah. So first, what will be there in p dot first? Can you guess? This is the point we made, 3467. So what p dot first will print? Yeah. So it will print 34 and second will print 67. Right. So first value goes in the first variable. So treat like pair is a built-in structure with two members, and those two members are first and second. So if I show you how to, now if I run this code being 0.java, sorry, G++ being 0.cpp, compiled a.exe. If I run it, I see 34 and 67 printed. So pair is as simple as that. Three things: declaring pair, instantiating pair, and using pair. Now you may ask, is it only necessary that I create pair with int? No, you can create pair of any data type, double an int. So then I can make it 34.50. Now if you see, the moment I change this, I don't have to change C out. If it was scanf, I would have changed, sorry, if it was printf, I would have changed %d to %f. So that is the beauty of C++. You don't have to change that. Now you will see we are printing floating values. Can we convert it to a character? Answer to that is yes. Char and int or char, we can do that. So I'll put a character A now. Now you just go and see that. Now if I go and run, I can print with char. So pair is a pretty easy thing. If anywhere you feel like I need a structure, you can use built-in pair. So these are the things to remember about pair. Right. So that is, and that's all you need to know about pairs. There's no rocket science in this. This much syntax, if you are comfortable typing, then this will help you solve many problems where complex data structure is required. Yeah, I'll come to vector, Kaushik. So we will come to that also. Right now we have just discussed pair. Pair is one single thing. Yeah, so one question that somebody is asking, Koteshwar Rao is asking, can we create a pair of complex type? Imagine if you remember, if you want to take 3 variables. So I can take pair of int and pair of int, int. Now what does this mean? I have taken a p. So in this p, if I do p dot first, that will be one integer. The first member is integer, second member is another pair. Right? So pair is, you always create pair with a comma b, but this time b is a complex data type. So p dot first will be first variable. Then you will say p dot second. Now p dot second is another pair. Right? In that, again there will be first. P dot second will also be there. Right? But this will complicate things right now. You can declare pair for pair like this also, right? But right now we are leaving this notation. We do not care about this right now because we are just beginning STL. So let's keep that aside. But yeah, they are possible to write. Okay. So keep the syntax in mind. It should be pair of data type 1, comma data type 2. Right? This can be any variable. Now this data type can be simple data type, or data type can be another complex data type. Complex as in they can be pair, they can be vector, they can be string, anything. Right. So for now we will just park it at this level. So pair is clear. We will be able to create pair. We will be able to print the first and second member of the pair. That is what we need about pair. Now let's come to the next part, which is string. Now what is string in C++ and how much of string we should know? Now C++ strings are much better than C strings because in C language, strings are character arrays. And in C++, character arrays are also there, but in C++, there is a string built-in class is also there, which is way easier to use. Right? And that is what we are talking about now. So in C++, if you want a string, you simply declare string s. That's it. You don't have to put any array notation, just string s. And the best part is scene works with that. So you want to read a string, scene s, it will read the string. Right. So let's take an example. So if I give you an example, I say I will give 4 strings, and for each string you have to print third last character. The first string is apple, second is temple, then Bluetooth, then let's say orange. Okay, so we are reading 4 strings. I'll put them in test.inp.txt. I'm putting that in an input file. Now what I'll do, I'll read these 4 strings. I have to print third character from the end. So for what should be our output? Can you guess the output? Yeah, we'll come to that also. 4F8 is asking how to read a sentence. We'll come to both of that. Yeah. First, we will read a string. So apple, what is the third alphabet from the back? Yeah, guys, can you tell me what is the third character from the back? This is the E's first character. then this is second, this is third. Okay. Third character from end is P. For second string, what is the third character from end? In Temple, P. Okay. In Bluetooth, what is the third character from back? It is O.
O.
For orange, from orange,
N.
N. So you got the question, right? Now this is the question we have to do. First line is number of words. For each test case, we have to print this. So see, in C++, things will become pretty straightforward. First line I'll write as int n, scene n, way fast. Don't have to write scanf or anything. Then I'll say while n minus minus. I can declare a string inside or outside. Up to me, I'll declare inside. While when we have read the string, third character from the back, when we have to print, what we will do is cout. Can you tell me what will be the third character in the string from back? First character from end is, if string is of length 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 0th first indices are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So first character from end will be 4. The length of the string is 5. The first character in the end from the end is length minus 1. Second character from the end is length minus 2. Okay, somebody has posted this question, what is fast IO? So this is to make scene cout as fast as printf scanf. They are slow, so if we add these lines, they will perform as fast as printf scanf. Right? Otherwise, sometimes what happens with scene cout, your program gives timeout. So read that separately. We are not talking about fast IO in these classes. I just said, remember this line, that if you are using scene cout, you should use it. Okay, so first of all, we should know how to find length of the string. Now, length of the string is s.length, built-in function, which we can call, right? Then we will say s of length minus 3. This will be the third last character from the end. If you use negative indexes in C++, you cannot do that. So negative indices not allowed. So if string length is up to 3, only then you can get the third character from the end. Okay, somebody is saying there is a function s.size also. S.size purpose is different. It gives the size in memory. We'll be using s.length. Ideally, because each character is 1 byte, s.size will also give, if string is of length 4, let's say A, B, C, D, this is 1 byte, 2 byte, 3 byte, 4 byte. Even size gives you the same value, but size actually is meant for giving you size in memory. Size is not meant for length. Their purpose is different, but ideally they both work because character length is 1 byte, right? So we will stick to using length. So see, we read the string, we calculated its length. Based on length, we are getting third character from the end. If I go back and run my code, G++ being 0.cpp, compiled a.exe, and I will redirect the input file test.inp.txt. So this redirection is telling that read the input from the file. I'm not going to type it here. So this works in any computer. From command prompt, if you just give, I'm redirecting this. Although I have put extra inputs here, but we know we have written program in such a way, we'll read 4, we will read these lines, that's it. Our program will terminate after reading these lines. So extra characters here are not causing any trouble to us, right? So this is how we create a string. This is what we need about the string. So see, for string declaration, you should know declaration is string s. That is how you declare. How do you find length of the string? Int n. Can you tell me what is the way to get length of the string? What is the function? S dot length. Yes. So we will call it like this, right? Then question is, how do we access character at any position in the string? It is treated like an array. So I will simply say char c is equal to s of I. This notation will work, right? Yeah, Joshua, we can use that also, but we will stick to the simplest notation. We can read use string like an array itself, right? I can do char c is equal to s of I, right? So These three things in string are good enough for us to know. Along with the string, I will also point you to one header file which is there in C also. So this file is called ctype.h. There are a lot of built-in functions that are useful for characters. So let me take you to the ctype header file. Let's see what that header file, what kind of functions this header file gives. It gives character functions to us, character conversion and character classification functions. They work at character level. So I'll talk about few functions which are important. So another file I'm talking about is ctype.h. This is a header file. C++, you don't have to include any extra header file if you have written this line. This header file includes every header file, right? So ctype.h header file has a function char to lower char c. You give it a character, converts a character to lowercase. Built-in function. We have to give a character, it returns a character. Same way, there is a function to upper. You give it a character, it converts that to upper character, right? Then there are functions for checking. You can call a function is lower. It will tell a character is lower or not. So Boolean is nothing but bool is internally int. It means 0, it will return for false. 1, it will return for true. That is what internally it means. So I can say it like it will return int. It will tell a character is lower or not, lowercase or not. Bool is upper char c. These are two more functions to be aware of. Now, if we want to know any character is a digit or not, because this is a digit character, we have put it in single quote, so it became a character. So there is a function for is digit also, char c. It is a digit or not. There is a function for is alpha. It is alphabet or not. This is also a built-in function. Is lnum. Alpha numeric, either alphabet or digit. That is what is lnum function will be. So these are some of the built-in functions that are helpful. Let me see if there are any more that we should pay attention to. Yeah, is a space is another one. Rule is space. If character is a space or not, it will tell you. This takes care of space character, new line character, vertical tab, and tab. I think vertical tab is /v. So for every such character, it will give true. Right? Now, same example that we did earlier. Let's say I want to do it this way. Given a string, you have to print third character from the back side, but print that character in uppercase. So what changes will I do? I have to print that character in uppercase. So how do I convert this character in uppercase? slen 3 is a character we are accessing from the string. What change should I do? Yep. So I'll say to upper and I'll pass this character to that. Internally, it will take care of converting it for us. Let's run this. I have to compile the code once again. So compile, I'm doing ampersand. So this is one line to compile and run in the same line. Ampersand is in Windows. Ampersand means first command, ampersand second command, then it will kind of chain the commands together. First will run, then second will run. So now what it did, it printed integers. Why did the integers get printed? Can you tell why characters are not coming? So when we are converting to upper, I'm getting integral values, but I wanted an uppercase character. What went wrong? Let me go to upper here. Let's click this function and see what this function is. Oh, now it tells this function does not take character. It actually takes integer and returns an integer, because each character also has a corresponding ASCII value, right? So it is returning me an integer. That is why cin is printing integer. Here I will say your printf would have won. So what we should do, if we do printf %c, it will print the character. But how do we achieve the same thing in cout? You have to explicitly convert your integer into character. So this way, this ASCII value will be converted into a character and then printed. So yeah, we are doing typecasting here. Now you see, P's corresponding ASCII value was 80. Earlier that ASCII value was being printed because we realized that they are returning integer. So let me just change that. So this takes integer, this returns integer. So I'm just updating that so that we keep that in mind, that it works on ASCII value of characters. Same way here also, this should be ints rather than chars. Mostly this function will take character ASCII value. So you can assign a character to integer. So this should be okay, right? So these functions many a times help us check things faster. Now, a lot of competitive programming questions will be formed on the concept. You have to tell how many vowels are there in a string. Unfortunately, there is no function. There is no built-in function for checking vowels. Then we have to write our own function, and that will be bool is vowel. We will write this function ourselves. Let me make this also. If you get a character, how do you write is vowel function in just one line? You can use these functions that you are seeing. But one line code we should write for checking if a character is vowel or not. What are vowel characters? A, E, I, O, U, right? So can I say if CH is equal to A or CH is equal to E or CH is equal to I or CH is equal to O or CH is equal to U, A, E, I, O, U. Then I will return true. Else I will return false. Right? I have written 4 lines of code. If this, then return true, else return false. This expression is a conditional expression. We are combining multiple conditions with or. Every conditional expression we are checking, where we are checking conditions, their final value evaluates to be a Boolean value, true or false. And if this value is true or false, based on that we are returning true, false. Why not we directly return that? Right? So we are returning this directly, right? Because this expression itself will be true or false, right? Now we are missing uppercase. So Sahit is pointing out that what if we call this function with capital A? Then it will say false because capital A is none of these characters. So that is where we will use the trick of two lower. So what we will do, even if you give upper character, we will convert it to two lower first, and then we will do only two lower check. Right. So see, this helped us avoid writing 5 more conditions for uppercase. Right. So convert it to two lower first, and then check with only lowers. So this function is pretty useful. You should be able to type it bug free anytime. And this is not a built-in function. Okay. So we talked about strings. We talked about character functions. Let's come back to string. So declaration we saw, length finding we saw, how to access character in any position we saw, how to loop over string characters. If we have to loop over characters of string one by one, we will say for int I0, I less than s dot length I plus plus, and inside that we can get char c is equal to si. So this is how we can get. Now we can do on C whatever we want. This is like looping over characters of a string, right? Okay. 2 more things we will talk about in string. It's like reading string input. First, when we have to read only string S, seen as. This can read a string, but reads only string with no spaces. Yeah, iterator we will not talk about here right now. 476 iterators is not focused for strings. For string we can do iteration just with this. We'll talk about iterator separately. Okay, so this reads only string with no spaces. Somebody asked me this question also, that what if input has spaces? Apple is a good fruit. Temple is to worship for God. Now I'm putting strings which have spaces in it. Bluetooth is a technology that devices can use to talk wirelessly to each other. And last one is orange is a citrus fruit. So now our strings are having spaces in them. Now C in S will not work. So the way we were reading strings earlier, this way if we read, then it will read only the first word. First word is nothing but it is apple. But we want entire line. Yeah, so there is a separate function. So reading string input, one word is this. And if you want to read entire line, in C++, there is one function getLine C in S. This is how you put, you will get entire line string S. Right? So how do you read entire line? Now you will go back here, you will say C in N. In place of C in here, you will say getLine C in S. And whenever you use getLine, you have to be cautious because getLine function will have a trouble. After 4, there is a new line here which we cannot see, but when I typed the input, after 4 I had put a new line here. So, and this happens only for first line. So when you have integer and strings mixed, you have to take care of this scenario. After this, we have to remove new line after N. So we will do get line C in S. So this is one extra get line I'm putting to remove the new line after this. I'll not declare S here. Right? So this is to remove that new line. Now I'll get all the strings properly. So let me go and run the same program again. So this time, if you see, let me print string also along with it. So C in, we are printing our string, and then we are printing third character from the end. So I'm putting S and then third character from the end. Just see now, it will read apple is a good fruit, and third character from the end is U. We are printing in uppercase. Third character is G. Same way next and next, right? So here, what trick I told you that would have troubled if we do not put this, then after slash n, after integer, there was a slash n that we need to remove. After fruit also there is a slash n, but that will be taken care of by get line here. This get line will remove this. Challenge was with 4 because 4 is read by C in, this is read by get line. Right? Get line will read slash n and remove it, but C in will not remove slash n. That's the worry, one worry that you have to take care of. Right? So are we clear about strings? How do we declare a string? How do we get length of the string? Character at any position. You can loop over the string. How to read string with new lines. Sorry, string with one word and string with new line. Okay, I saw some question in the chat window. How to read paragraphs. So paragraphs are nothing but multiple strings. So you will read, you will do get line. So ideally, if you see in our program, we are kind of reading paragraph. You should know how many lines are there in the paragraph. Then you loop over it and read each and every line one by one. Does that make sense for F8? Yeah. Okay, so we have talked about get line here. So this is how we are getting comfortable with reading strings. Now, in strings, how do we convert max size of string? I think it should be up to 10 to the power 6 or 10 to the power 8. Yeah, we can get till that. Convert int to string. If you want to convert an integer a to string, let's say a has value 5, you want to get a string out of it. String x is equal to, you can say 2 underscore string a. This will work. So when you code online sites, in drop down there'll be an option C++11, C++14. So C++, before C++11, it was not very easy to convert integer to string. Then they added this function, this becomes easy. What if you want to reverse? Convert string to int. If you have a string x is equal to, let's say 456. Now it is a string. In one line, can we convert it to int? Answer is yes. Int a is equal to, there is a function called s2i x. So string to integer you can convert like this. Right? This is also useful. Let's try this in one of the line here. Int a is equal to STOI. STOI is for string to int, STOL is for string to long, STOF is string to float, STOD is string to double. Then to long double, to long long, unsigned long. So string to any integral data type or floating data type you can convert with this. Right? So these are also handy tricks that you should have. That covers our string topic. Any questions on pair, string, and character functions? So in summary, if I tell you what we have talked about is summary, we have talked about pair first, we talked about, then we talked about string, then we talked about character functions, and then we also talked about string to int and int to string. Any questions, guys, on these 5 areas that we have talked about just now? Okay, can you just type in chat window yes if you are comfortable? Is everyone comfortable with these 5 topics that we have just now touched upon? So I see only 3-4 responses. Others are understanding or just sleeping by putting headphones? Okay, perfect. If you are from ECEEE, just do speak up, because for you guys it is important that you should feel comfortable with this. Okay, so Sai Charan says, I am not able to understand why we use 2 get lines. Sure, Sai, good that you are asking that. Let's cover your question once again. So see, good that you asked this question. So question is, why 2 get lines? So understand this. There is a difference in how scene reads a string or scene reads a value. So when you read using scene, purpose of scene is it reads a number from input, and if there is a new line character at end, it leaves that on input stream. It leaves that on input stream. So this concept is clear. This is making sense to you, Sai Charan? That scene's behavior is this. This is something you should know. Okay. Now what getLine does? GetLine does, it reads the entire line, including /n, and then gives you string back without /n. So it is reading /n, but when it returns the string to you, it removes that for you. Right? So we can also say the entire line till /n and then removes /n from input stream. This is the behavior. Now, if for getLine, if you give an empty line as input, will getLine read it? Tell me. If you give empty line to input in getLine, if this getLine scene s, if empty line was input, will getLine read that and put it in s? Yes or no? Empty line is nothing but go to input, just put enter. That is empty line. So it says reads the entire line till /n and removes /n from input string. So it will read that. And it will put empty line in S, empty string. Right? Now think about it. If your input is 4, first and second. Now on your input stream, after 4 there is a new line. Do you agree after 4 there is a /n? Sai Charan, are you getting it? After 4 or after 2 there is a /n. Do you agree? Perfect. Now for this input, if I say int n scene n, what will this n do? This scene do? Scene will read the number 2 and put that in n, and /n it will leave on the input string. So there is a /n which is there on input, which is still there. Now if I'll say while n minus minus, here if I say getLine scene s, what will this read? What will be stored in s first? it will read empty. That is one problem because cin and getLine we are mixing. So this is the problem. So to avoid this problem, what we did, we said, hey, problem is only about this /n because here we are using cin. So what we said, let's do a getLine cin s here. This should remove /n, right? So now once that /n is removed, this we are reading with getLine, this anyways its /n will go away. This we are using getLine, this anyways /n will go away. So one /n had to be removed after two. After that, there is no problem because we are sticking to using getLine. Now this makes sense? Yes, Sai Charan. Is it making sense now? Yeah. So that was the concept. So either you do this way to avoid this problem, or second way to do this is people do this also. GetLine cin, they declare a string s. First line also they read with getLine. Now this is string, so they say n is equal to s2i s. So this is like reading string and then converting. So this will not have any problem. Then you can do while n minus minus getLine cin s. So either this solves the problem, or second, this solution is also okay. And you will use this only when integers and string input is mixed. Right? Kaushik, I'll come to your question about vectors. Before that, there was one question somebody raised. All the library which you explained are here in Python. So this guy, 4F8, guys, these classes are not for Python. I made it clear yesterday in the group also. If you are using Python, then you're responsible for understanding the library. If you're just learning Python, I'm covering C++ from scratch. So ground up, I'm covering things. It's better you follow this syntax. Don't be confused. Don't rush to Python for everything, right? Because two languages at same time, I'll suggest not to do that. Otherwise, it will confuse you unnecessarily, right? Python has similar functions. If you say that you already know Python, I'll say continue using it. But here, do not confuse, like, what is the function in Python? Can you tell me? We are not covering Python here, right? So we are focusing on C++ because this is most preferred language in competitive programming. So we will stick to it, right? And sitting here listening to this also, if you are running to Python, then there is no point sitting in these classes. If you are adamant that you do not want to move away from Python, then these classes are not for you. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. So we have discussed this summary. These are the points that we are clear with, right? Okay. So 476, any question from your side? Yeah. Did I miss any questions? So 476 has sent a question mark. Not sure what his question is. Can you repeat your question? So what is this question? Shortcut for inverse? Oh, you are asking how to reverse a string in C++? Okay. Yeah, in C++, how you reverse a string, there is a built-in function for that. C++ string reverse. I think it is in algorithm. Yeah. So if you see, you can give string reverse. This is for vector. It will work for string also. Let me try that in our code. So you got a string. Let me go back to this code. So we got a string. Let me say reverse, and we can give s, and let's do cout s. Just checking. No. So we will have to give like s dot begin, s dot end. Hopefully that will work. Yeah. What is that doing? If you see, first string was this has reversed it. Second string was this is reverse string. Yeah, so if you want to reverse a string, yes, there is a built-in function, but you will have to use with s.begin, s.end. Now, right now, do not worry about what this begin and end are. Just treat like you have to give, these are called iterators. It's right now and it can reverse a vector also, right? Perfect. Okay, so that was all about strings that we had to cover. If okay, we talked about reverse also. Let's keep reverse a string. So this also built-in function is there. Let's get that summary down. Okay. Now we come to next concept, which was vector. Vector is like an array. How do you declare array of 10 elements? Tell me. I want integer array of 10 elements. How do you declare that? Integer array of 10 elements. Okay. Int a 10, right? I'll say going forward, stop using integer array, start using vectors. There is a benefit of vectors. How I will declare a vector of 10 elements? I'll say vector of int a 10. Similar, only thing is syntax changes. Int a square bracket 10, vector of int a round bracket 10. This is how we have declared. Let me put it b so that we can run both parallelly. Now if I say read n and read n elements in the vector. Now I'll not use this array notation, I'll use vector notation. How do you read elements in the array? For int I0, I less than n, I plus plus, we would have said C in AI. If A was the array, we would have done that. We will do same with BI, right? So this way you can read vector. Now there are some people who are posting questions. Let me see that. What is the difference between array and vector? Good question. So this vector is grows in size automatically. What does it mean? I could have declared vector without declaring size also, A. So this A is not having any size. What I can do when I want to put anything in A, I can do a function A dot pushback. So this way I can put 10, I can put 20, I can put 30. So all these values I am appending in back of the array, right? So this is a vector declared without size. If you declare a vector without size, you must use pushback function to add an element to it, right? So if you have declared vector without size, must use the function pushback to insert an element. But if you declare it with size, you can directly insert elements like you do in array, right? So in order to make it simple, in order to make it equivalent to arrays, what I did, I declared this vector with a size so that I do not have to use pushback function. I can directly use it like an array. That is what I'm doing, right? If I don't put the size, this I cannot use it directly with this. I have to use pushback function, right? If I put with size, I can use it like an array. So it's better to declare vectors initially like this. When you are learning, when you are transitioning from arrays to vector, in fact, stick to this notation. Start giving vector with a size. Okay, so this is the notation we'll stick to. To insert in the beginning, yeah, there is a function, Joshua. To insert in the beginning, there is a function push. I think push front is not a function, but there is an insert function for sure. I don't think push front is a function. Let me just try. Okay, push front is not a function, but there is a function called insert. Yeah, this insert can insert at any position. So you give it two things: position where you want to insert. So at 0, you are inserting 12. So it will push everything rest to the backside. Insert takes 3 parameters to provide it, so it needs one more. Yeah, but there is a way to insert in the beginning also, but let's not get there. In array, we never do that we add elements to the beginning. Right? So right now, let's do the slow transition from array to vector. Right, so we will stick to using this notation. Now, same things like we did with string. What if I want to print elements of a vector? So I can do a loop for I0, I less than v dot size, like string has a size, string had length, vector has a size, I plus plus. Then I go and print cout bi space. So if you see with all this, we are using vectors like an array only. Only difference is the size of the vector we'll get with v dot size, the vector name dot size. So that is all about vector that we need for now. Right. So vector is, if you are asking difference between vector and array, vector is actually dynamic increasing array. You don't have to restrict to that size. Even though we have declared size as n, after reading n values also, I can do b dot pushback. I can insert more values also. Okay, so Vinay is asking a question. Can a vector take alphanumeric values? Yes, Vinay. Here we are declaring vector of int. Your question is, can I declare vector of char? Yes, you can do vector of char. You can do vector of float, anything. In fact, you can also declare vector of string ps. You can also declare vector of pair of int comma int. You will call it vector of pair. Now, this thing that you're writing here is any data type. Vector of data type, where data type can be, and these spaces are immaterial. I give space or not, doesn't matter. It is same. It is just for clarity I have added. Data type can be simple or complex. When I say complex, it means it can be pair, it can be any other data. It can be vector or vector also. Right? But again, I'll bring you back, since this is the first class on STL. I'll say focus on the simple thing that you can stick to simple types of vectors. Okay, 5J0 has a question. Vinay has a question. Can vector take alphanumeric? Okay, 5J0 has a question. What if we do not know how many elements we need to scan? Good question, Vinay. So if that is your thing, then you will not put the size here. Then you will do, we talked about that part also. You will declare vector without size, but with every reading, you will have to use pushback function. Does that make sense? If you don't know how many elements you want to put, what you will do? You will be doing declare vector without size. Let me put that in the template. Yeah. Vector of int v, and then you will say for int I0, I less than, and I plus plus. What you will do is you will say c in x. Let's use another variable x. You're reading in x, and then you're putting v dot pushback as x. Okay, I think your question was related to this, right? Okay, now some questions you will see. Spoj, let's start. Let me take you to a question. There is this question, it is not even telling how many elements of array are there. It simply says sort the numbers of input using merge sort. Input says on input there will be some numbers given, but how many it doesn't tell us. Right? So there are some numbers given like this. Now how do you read such input? I'll say variable.inp.txt. So if this is the case, how do you read this? Let me copy it here. When input size is not known to us, yeah, test.cpp. Now here we don't know how many variables to read. So while c in n. So what you will do, you will create a vector of int v, and you are declaring one n. So now you are reading every number. So this while loop is while there are numbers, it will return Cin of n. Right? So while Cin of n is true, you will say v dot pushback of n. This n we are reading and we are putting that in vector. Now in the end, this vector that we have created, this vector will have 2 to 4 to 6 values. In such scenarios, vectors are useful. Now you have read the input. You say cout v dot size. We are printing size of the vector. And now we say for int I0, I less than v dot size, I plus plus, say cout and v of I. Okay. So now you see if I run this program, g++ test.cpp and a.exe, and where did I put the input? Variable.inp. Variable.inp.txt. You see 6 elements it read, and these are the 6 elements. So this is the syntax for reading variable number of inputs. And I showed you one of the problem which needs this skill. Right? So here input is not even told to us. So this syntax that we are talking about here, for this kind of problem where input size is not given, you can use such syntax. Let me add that also to notes. Okay, so about vector, this is what we needed to know. Now comes the last topic. What is map? This is the main topic where we wanted to get to, and all that I have covered so far, everything we will summarize and we will use with map also. Now we will start for map with a sample question. Let's say, given a paragraph, you have to print the most, paragraph, I'll say sentence. Given a sentence, print the most occurring word and its frequency. This is the question we are talking about. Okay. I give you the sentence. Let's say my input is, and I'll also say one thing. If there are more than one word occurring multiple times, print all of them. Right? So this is what we will come to. Okay, there is one question for F8 is asking, is there any way to sort the vector? Yes. Okay. Sort and reverse vector. There is a built-in function for reverse and sort of vector. So if you have vector, any type of vector v, reverse will be reverse v dot begin, like we did string reverse, and v dot end. So it will reverse the values in the vector. Same way there is a sort function v dot begin, comma v dot end. Yeah, these built-in functions you can use for sorting and reversing. Right? Okay. So yeah, so here I was saying the input is, this is first class on STL, which we are first time doing. Can you tell me what is the most occurring word in this sentence? Hey guys, what is the most occurring word in this sentence that I have written this sentence? Okay, first, how many times it is occurring? 2 times. So the output should be, we have to print those words and their frequency. Output should be first and 2, right? And if I change the input, if I say sample, 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 test, 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 what is the output we are expecting? Sample 2 times, test 2 times. This is what I want. So this is the programming problem we are taking a look at. Right? So what should we do? How should we solve this problem? Oh, sorry, 3, 3. Yeah, I made a mistake here. Here the output should be the 3 and 3. Yeah. So problem statement is clear to everyone? Somebody says we can use pair. Yeah. Okay, so we can take pair. How do we do this problem with pair? Tell me the approach. What you guessed is right. We will need a pair of string, and for each string you will need frequency, right? This is word and its frequency. So this pair you will form in such a way. Sample is the word occurring 3 times. Test is the word occurring 3 times, right? And people are saying we will take a vector of pairs, array of pairs. What you are saying is right. And in such cases only map comes in handy. Map is nothing but map says you give me a key type, you give me a value type. So this is your map. It is like collection of pairs, and each pair will be string int, string int. This is what a map is. This map is not like Google map. This map is like, this has a mapping of string to int, and it can be any data type. It is not necessary it has to be string and int, right? So let's see, we are taking a map. Now when you declare a map, in this you would have identified we need a map of string and int. Each string, this is a key. The general syntax is map of a key and key data type and value data type. In our case, key data type we are choosing to be string, and value data type we are choosing to be int. By default, if you create a map, every string by default is a key with its value 0. So in this map, if I ask you see out map of or MP of, map is a keyword, so I'll use a variable, any other variable name than MP. If I ask what is MP of sample just after declaration, what value do you think will it print? What value will it print? We have not put anything, we just declared the map, and we are asking for sample as a key, what is the value? Can you guess what should it return? By default it will give 0, right? Now if I say MP of sample, this is like an array, but keys are changing now. Keys are strings. If this I say is equal to 2, what will this line print? Yes, now it will print 2. So you know what this map is? Treat it like an array. We used to use array, some index is equal to value. This is what we used to say. Map is also same way. In map, in array this index used to be int only. In map, this can be any data type. That's the only difference. This can be any data type. Here if you see, we have created like string is becoming the index here. So we can make it string also, right? Okay, so we can put anything in map. Here I have put 2, I print, I'll get 2. If I do MP of sample plus plus, what will it print now? Can you tell me? I created a map, I have put sample is equal to 2. Now sample plus plus, now I'm doing MP of sample. So this will print 3. Yes, that is correct. So now you see, we will combine these two things together. You will see how simple map will make this program to be. We will read this entire line, right? In this entire line, we will get every string possible. For every string, we will put that in map. For now, let me change the problem. Given a collections of words, 1 per line. I'm changing the problem statement to make it a little simple. Yeah. So now input will be given like this. We are given 1 word per line. And we are not told how many words. It is just words start coming. And for these words, we have to print this output. So this is our first input. Let me copy this and put it in word.inp.txt. This is our input, right? For this, we are writing the program. Now tell me, how do we write this code? I am given multiple words, but I don't know how many words. So how should I read that input? First of all, what is each line's input? What is there in each line of this input? Each line is a Integer, right? Because I'm just checking whether you're awake or sleeping. Each line is an integer. Okay. Some people said char. Can you check, Sai Charan? Is each line a char or each line a string? It is a string, right? Not a char. So we have to read strings, but we don't know how many strings, but we learned the syntax. There is a while loop C in S. This while loop will keep reading one string at a time. These strings are not having spaces, so scene will work out better. If they had spaces, we could have used get line here. Get line also returns true or false. Get line C in S could also work. But for now, because I have made sure word is not having spaces, so we'll use this. So it will keep reading every string. Now, after reading every string, what should I do? I want to count. When first word came, I want to count how many times this is occurring. So initially, how many times is this? When I read first line, what is the frequency of this? How many times this is coming? Now, when we read this for the first time, it is 1. Before that, it was 0. Correct. And by default, I said in map, everything is 0. So let's do one thing. Let's create a map of string, comma, int. This is our map. I'll call it frequency map. Okay. I'm giving any name. Here you can use any variable name. When I read S, I will do frequency of S plus plus. Is this making sense? Is this clear to everyone? Whatever S I read, I'm giving that as an index here. And I'm adding plus plus. By default, it will be 0. Now it will become 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. So I'm building a frequency map. Now I also want to keep track of what is the maximum frequency word. So I'll say max frequency is equal to, initially I'm taking at 0. Max frequency is 0. Now once I have read first frequency, I'll say if frequency of S is greater than max frequency, I'll update max frequency as frequency of S. Is this clear to everyone what I'm doing here? Update current word frequency. If current frequency is more than max, I'm updating max. If current frequency is more than max, update it. Right? Now this I have used with if. Right? There is a shorthand way for this, which I will be using. I do not want to use this. There is a built-in max function, which can get maximum of 2 variables. I can say maxf is equal to, max is a built-in function, mxf, comma, frequency of S. It is same thing as what I commented. Every time taking max of these two. Even if this frequency is not bigger, then it will give me the old value. This is making sense? Yes. Everyone clear with this? What is the effect of this line? Perfect. So this is what we are doing. So we got frequency count of every word. We got the maximum frequency count. Now you have read all that. Now tell me, how do you print those words? In the end, print all words whose frequency is max frequency. That is what was expected in our problem statement. Look at the problem. You have to give most occurring word and its frequency. If there are more than one words, you should print every word and its frequency. For second test case, that was the scenario. Now we have found the maximum frequency and we have put everything in the map. So question is, how do we print all the words whose frequency is this? Yeah, so now is the important point of map that we should know. We will say loop over every key stored in the map and check if its value is mxf, print that. Now we should know, how can we loop over everything we have put in the map? You just try to visualize what our map is right now. Let me open my whiteboard and see. Can you tell me, when you read this input, what will be there in the map? Map is storing key value pair, right? So key is string, value is int. So can I say for second test case, my map will be nothing but, it will be something like sample is a key and its value will be 3. This is key, this is value in my map. Then test is my key and value is 3. So 2 keys and corresponding values. And each entry is a pair. This is pair 0, this is pair 1. They all are pairs. Okay. Now the question is, how do we iterate over the map? Let's see. So how do we loop over the keys of the map? So we say for each entry in the map is a pair. Do we all agree? Every entry in a map is a pair. It is a collection of pairs, string in pair. So I will say for pair of string comma int. For every pair, colon frequency. This is a shorthand way, C++ way of writing code, looping over the map. For every pair P in this frequency, what I will do is I can print cout P dot first, it will give me the key, and I can say P dot second, it will give me the value. Let me know if this is not clear to anyone. This loop is called enhanced for loop. This is a new thing in C++. C doesn't have this, but this is added so that things become pretty simple to iterate. In STL, you can iterate over collections simply. Right now, I'm printing every key and its frequency just to show you. Then we will put our logic. We will put conditional logic. Sure, I'll repeat it once again, Nikhil. So let's go back to this notes. So if you have a map of data type 1 and data type 2, okay, this is your map. So I said this is collection of pair dt1 comma dt2. There are multiple values here, dt1, dt2. Any data type it can be int or anything, right? Now what I said is, since it is having a pair, we say for each pair of dt1, dt2 in map, everything is a pair. For each pair in this map, this is how you read it. For each pair in this map, now P is a pair. Every time this loop runs, it will be next entry in the map, next entry in the map. So you are printing pair value. So you can say cout. If P is a pair, it has first data member, second data member. So P dot first will print first value, and P dot second will print second data type value. This makes sense, Charan? Suhas? Yeah. So this is what we have used. If you go back, this is what we said. For each pair, look at the map. Map is string and int pair. So for each pair P in this frequency, they are printing first and second. Can you tell me what will be first? First will be data type of first will be string. Do you agree with that? Second will be int. And in our case, what is string and int representing? String is every word and value is its frequency. How many times that word occurred, right? Let's try to run this code. G++, and our function file is cpp, test.cpp. Our input we had put in word.inp. Let me say a.exe, word.inp. What did it say? Test.cpp is, did I store it anywhere else? Let me take this word count.cpp. I'm giving a different file name. Word count.cpp. Okay. Yeah, it says C. These range-based loops are only available in C++ 11 onward. So for that, I'll have to do one thing. Minus std is equal to C++ 11. In HackerRank, HackerEarth, you just have to select from drop down C++ 11 or C++ 14. Then these loops will work. Ampersand a.exe word.in. So we are reading the word. If you see, my test case was the test input that I had given was in the word input. These were my inputs. For every input, if you see, this is giving me Every word and frequency, every word and frequency. And you know, the best part of map is it stores the keys in sorted order, right? So this is S is a capital letter. ASCII value of capital letters is lesser. Small letters are alphabetically sorted. ASCII value of capital A is 65 and small a is 97. So you will see all the capital letter words will be first alphabetically sorted, then small letter, right? Okay, so this is making sense. Right now we are printing all the words and its frequency. Now one more thing to keep in mind is many a times it becomes confusing to write this syntax where we are putting pair here. C++ people were kind enough to say, hey, if you want to skip the data type, you can just use auto here. Auto is automatic data type. Yes, so we have to type less code, but we have to keep in mind that this P is a pair. This is much simpler now. When you are writing loop over map, use this auto notation. Do not use that pair notation. Auto is a keyword which you can replace. This is kind of, for any data type, you can use auto. In fact, I can use in place of int also, I can use auto. That is also possible. If you see, I compile my code, run my code, it will work. So they made in C++ 11 onwards, any data type you don't need to mention, you just say auto, put variable equal to value. Based on the value you are assigning, it will figure out what the data type is. Right? So this for loop should become pretty straightforward now. I'll summarize all this that we have discussed. Okay, so one question Ratnadeep is asking, sir, how to access value presiding to a particular key? Good question, Ratnadeep. So if you want to get value for a particular key, you will say cout. Imagine you want for STL. Frequency is your map. Give it key STL. It will give you value for STL. So see, I'm treating it like an array. I'm giving the key, it will give me the value. This makes sense, Ratnadeep? Yeah. So just see, I'll run it. In the end, you will see STL's frequency. STL's frequency was 1. That is what you are getting. So for one key, it's pretty straightforward to get the value. So kind of treat it like an array. Okay. So Nagasa is asking, what if I want to remove a particular key from the map? Yeah. So map has a way to remove a key. You can say frequency dot. There is a function called erase. You give it a key name, it will remove that from the map. If you say STL, this will remove that STL key and its value from the map. And if you remove it, after that, if you print its frequency, what answer will you get? Now you have removed that key. And then if you try to print its value, the key is not there. So I told you, if key is not there, by default, map returns you 0 as an answer. If it is int as a value, yes. So that is what we will get. So see, now you removed it, so its value became 0, empty. Right? Yeah. So this is the way to remove anything from the map. The map doesn't check if the value is present or not present. By default, it puts some value, some default value. Yeah. Okay. So this was the thing. Let's solve our original problem that we were talking about. We said read collection, and for most occurring word and its frequency, you have to print that word. Right? If there are more than one words, print them all. So we found out in our program, we found out max frequency is this, and we have to print only those words who are max frequency. So here I can check if p dot second, because second is the frequency. If p dot second is equal to max frequency, only then print it. This makes sense why I'm putting this check. Okay, so Nagasai is asking for any key, if you have to update the value. Nagasai, we have been updating the value here. Yes, you can update the value. Frequency of square bracket key is equal to new value. Similar to array, how do you update a value in the array? Map can be used like an array. You cannot update any key, you can update only values. If you want to put a new key, then you have to do if you want to add a new key, there is an insert function also. In insert, you can put a pair, make pair. That is one way. Or second way is if you want to put a new key, frequency of any new key is equal to any value. This is also possible. Nagasai, make sense? You can put directly like this also. Like you put for any non-existent key also, you can do like this. Right? Let's see. Now this program, if we run, it will print only most frequently occurring word, which is first. And first is occurring 2 times. Let's see for second test case what it will do. I go back to this. Let's copy the second test case, which was this. Going to that input, word count input. I'm in fact adding this to the list. Let's add more words. Let's run it now. So now it will say sample occurs 3 times, test occurs 3 times. Right. So this is about map. Let's quickly summarize what all we have talked about map, because this is the crux to learn about map. So see, first of all, we should know how to declare a map. Can you tell me how do I declare a map with 2 data types? Map, first data type and second data type. So this way, map variable, MV, anything. Now, next question is how to insert a key value in map. So you can simply say MV, put key is equal to value, right? Okay, so Nagasa is asking, how can I copy value of one key into another? Nagasa, you can do this. MP of K2 is equal to MP of K1. So this will copy one key's value to another key's value, right? How to get value of a key? You can get V is equal to MP of K. You give the key and you get the value back, right? That is also straightforward. How to increment value for a key? We used a notation MP of K plus plus. You can also do MP of K is equal to MP of K plus 1. Both syntaxes are same. First one is shorthand, second one is little elaborate. Yeah, sure. 4F8 is saying, can you show the code once again? This is the code you were talking about, you wanted to see? Yeah, 4F8, any questions on this? Okay, are you done? Yeah. Then how to loop over all entries of map. This one is something I'm looking forward to you. Can you tell me how do I loop over printing every key and value? Yeah, guys, can you tell me the syntax? If you have understood things, what will be the loop we will use to loop over every entry of the map? What was the syntax for? Yes, for auto, and keep in mind this is pair in MV. Right now I have taken map as MV. So for every entry in this, I can get C out. How will I get key? From P, how do I, yeah, we'll P dot first, right? This will give the key, and we will say C out, P dot second. This will give the value, right? Yeah, so in map, if you know this much, okay, one more thing is how many keys are there in the map? So you can get that number of keys is equal to MP dot size. Size function is there with everything. String has size, vector has size, map has size, and you will use mainly map. Map is used when you want to store pairs of information. For every key you want to store key value. When you want to store this mapping, this is where you use map. Okay guys, so this one, yeah, we'll come to that also. Sahiti. So for now, if I say we used pair, then we talked about, after pair we talked about vector, string, then we talked about vector, then we talked about map, right? Yeah, sure, Nikhil. Nikhil is asking, can you give some problems, practice problems link? So CodeChef is doing these days a good series. In fact, I will suggest you to practice there. In CodeChef, if you go to DSA learning series, they are putting questions on STL. If you see this third one that they have put is STL map, vector pair. So these are the good links to kind of go and practice. They are putting a lot of problems in this. Yeah. So if you see, this is a series they recently started in April. So you can do it from there. So practice if you want to do. This is a good place to start it. Okay, one more thing I'll talk about and then we will end. So we'll have 10 more minutes to talk about one more topic where map is really, really useful. And that scenario, if I talk about, I'll give you a fresh problem just to think on that. So let's say I call this problem as Quora problem. So you are given some relationship of people. It is like in Quora, we know, right? A person can follow another person. People follow each other on Quora, right? We are given some follow relationships. You need to tell the most followed persons. What do we mean by that is, let's say we are saying Nikhil follows Joshua, right? I'm giving you 8 relationships. So first line is telling Nikhil follows Joshua. Then I say Sahiti follows Nikhil. Then let's say I'm just picking your names from chat. Suhas follows Sahiti. 3. Let me put more names. Okay, Nagasai follows let's say Sai Charan. And each name I'm keeping as one word, right? Then we say Nagasai also follows Joshua. Then we say Sahiti also follows Sai Charan. So 2, 3, 3, 6. Nagasai follows Nikhil also. Then Nikhil follows Sahiti. So these are the relationships. Sahiti follows Nikhil, Nikhil follows Sahiti also. Now what you have to tell is, you have to tell the most followed person, a person who is followed the most and its followers. You have to print this as an answer. So input wise, what you are seeing is, this is the input where first line tells how many follow relationship, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Output should be, can you tell me what will be the output? Who is the person who is most followed? Nikhil is followed how many times? 1, 2 times. Joshua is followed 2 times. Sahiti is followed 2 times. Sai Charan 2 times. Okay, so let me make at least one name more frequent. So Nagasai also follows Sahiti. So now our input is valid. Yeah, so who is the most followed person? Hey guys, can you tell me who is the most followed person? First line is n, number of following relationships. Next is follower and whom he follows. So this is what our input format is. So Nikhil follows Joshua. Sahiti follows Nikhil. Sahiti is a person who is followed by 3 people. Can I say that? Right, guys? So Sahiti is followed by 3 people. So can I say the most followed person is Sahiti? One line. Next line you have to tell who are the people who are following Sahiti. Can you tell me who are the people who are following Sahiti? First person who followed Sahiti was Suhas. Second person who followed Sahiti was Nagasai. Third person who followed Sahiti was Nikhil. So output format. Is everyone clear with the problem statement? Yeah, guys, can you respond in the chat window? Perfect. Now tell me, how can we store this information? What is a good way to store this information in any data structure? And whatever we have discussed today, one of them will fit here. How do we represent follower relationships? Okay, so Nagasai is suggesting a thing. He's saying take a map of string comma string. This is relationship. Does everyone agree this will work? So what is key representing? Nagasai, can you speak about what is key here? The person who is following is the person who is being followed. Follower or whom he follows. Okay, string is a followed person. Who is being followed? That is the key. Everyone agrees? The person being followed will be the key. Who will be the value? We are storing one value, Nagasai, here, one string. But one person, like Sahiti has 3 followers. How will you store 3 followers for Sahiti? Okay, so this map of string and string will not work, right? Nikhil is suggesting another thing. Nikhil says change it to int. So Nikhil, what will this int store? For Sahiti, this count will be 3, right? There are 3 followers of Sahiti. But how will you get the followers of Sahiti? You have to get that information also, right? Yes. So what Koteshwara Rao is saying, that makes sense. So we will store map of string, vector of string. Now see what values is followers of a person. This is what we have to do. Right. So key will be the person who is being followed. Value will be the all the followers. So what our map will look like, if you notice, our map will look like this. If Nikhil is the person who is being followed, for Nikhil, we will be creating a vector, and that vector will be for Nikhil, it is Joshua, and Nikhil is being followed by, sorry, first is follower. So Nikhil is being followed by Sahiti. So Sahiti will be there in the follower. Nikhil is followed, Sahiti will be there as follower of Nikhil. Right. Same way, if Sahiti is followed, then Suhas is following Sahiti. Right. Suhas is following Sahiti. Then Sai Charan is, sorry, then Nagasai is following Sahiti, then Nikhil is following Sahiti. That is how we will store the information. First of all, is everyone clear with this notation that we have picked? Is it making sense to everyone? Yeah, guys, are you clear with this notation? Then we will worry about how do we create this in program. Perfect. Okay, let's quickly do that now. Let me copy this input, put that in an input file. So these are our relationships. Relations.inp.txt. Okay, now I'll go and write the program. Let me copy some program and we will modify quickly so that I can use a fixed template. Relations.cpp. Let's cut all the clutter so that we can come to our basic template and then we can start. Okay, so inputs first line was telling that first line of input we have 8, which is number of relationships. I'll go with simple n, c in n. Now I have to read n pairs of names, so I'll say followed, follower, and followed. Two strings I have taken. I'll write this loop n times while n minus minus. Each time I will be reading two strings. I'm not using get line. I'll just read one pair. I'll say follower and followed. That is what the input was. So each time I'll be reading the relationship. And if you notice, I'm not using get line, so that slash n issue will not be there. Cin can read things properly, right? Get line is what troubles us with slash n. So I'm reading n, then I'm reading follower, followed, follower, followed. That is what we are doing. Now, you all said you will create a map of string and a vector of string. This is our relationship map, where the key is followed person and value is list of followers or vector of followers. Keep that in mind because this becomes confusing to a lot of people. Now you have read follower and followed. So the person who is being followed, it will be key in the map. So I'll say relationship of followed, the person who is being followed. In this, we want to store follower, but follower is not one string. This is not a map of string. This is map of string, vector of string. So this is a vector, this thing. If this is a vector, I can do pushback and add follower there. This is the crux of it. Just tell me if this line is clear or not. In followed, add new follower. Yeah, guys, is this making sense to everyone? Now you see we have mixed two things together. We have mixed map, vector, we are using pushback function of vector. Everything that we studied from the beginning, it is boiling down to one thing now. For these kind of programs, we are getting ready now. Right? For now, just for the sake of just printing, imagine I want to first print every person and its followers. If I want to do that, we know there is a for loop we have learned. Let's use our for loop. For auto, every pair in relationship, right? This was our thing. For every pair, let's first get the name of follower. Can you tell me how do I get follower? Just tell me what should I write so that I get followed person. How will I get current entries person who is being followed? For every entry I'm going over, who is the current person who is being followed in this? Awesome. P dot first. Yes. So this is giving us key, right? How do I get a value? P dot second will give me the value, but what is the data type of the value? This time it is vector of string. So this is what I'll write. This is followers, right? Followed person. I'm changing this variable name. You know why? Follower persons. Why I did that is because I use these keywords already. I do not want to redeclare those variables. So I got the first person and their followers. So first person I'll print directly. This is followed person. Let's put a colon here. Now this vector also I want to print. His all followers I want to print. So I'll write another for loop for auto. On vector I'm writing, I'll say F on this for loop we can use with the vector also. With follower persons, I'm looping over every entry in this vector. What is every entry's data type in this vector? It is a string. It is not a pair now. So for every string in follower persons, I'm going with F and I'll print those followers. Cout F space. And once they are printed, I'll put a new line. Just see this. Yeah, guys, this is the important code. Just see if this makes sense. If not, I can explain it again. Just try to read it once and see that is it making sense what we are doing. Again, is it making sense to everyone? Anybody who is not understanding this? So I assume that it is clear. Now let's try to run this code and see what it will do for us. So G++ minus std is equal to C++11, and this time it was relationships, ampersand a.exe, relationships.input.txt. Let's run this code, and if you see, now it is printing the proper map. It says Joshua is the followed person who is being followed by Nikhil and Nagasai. Nikhil is followed by Sahiti. Sahiti is followed by these three people. Sai Charan is followed by these two people. So every relationship in map, and we are able to print the map. So this is a good achievement that we have get to. Right? And once you got this information, now tell me from this map, if I ask you in this for loop, if you have to identify who is the most followed person, how will we find, or tell me, how do I find count of people who are following any person? Int count of followers of Sahiti. If I want to get that from the map here, how do I get that from relationship map? Can you tell me in one line code here, what should I write? Relationship is our map. Sahiti is the key name I'm telling you. Just help me complete this line. How can I get the followers of Sahiti here? Yes, so I'll say relationship. And what I'll give as a key? Sahiti. This complete thing, we are giving a key. We will get a vector out, and we will do size of that. Absolutely. So this will give us the followers of Sahiti. If spelling is correct, I think we will get this. Let me put that in the end so that we validate it once. Cout count followers of Sahiti /n. Let's see, it should print the value 3 in the end. Right, so we got 3. If you give any other key, it will give the value for that. Right, guys. So now with this, I have not solved the complete problem that we discussed, but I believe that if this is a problem given to you, then you can print this kind of output on your own. Who is the person who is most followed, and who are the people who are following the person? Now it is all about combining everything we have discussed together to solve this problem. Right. So this program is ultimately crux, because in this program we have brought string also, we have brought vector of string also, we have brought map also, then we have brought for loop also, this syntax. So this was a good program to do. So everything boils down to one single thing. And let me put that here, and this link I'll straight away give you. Notes I'll be sending you later on. So these relationships we are directly putting here. And here, if you see, this is I was talking about. Don't use C++4 or general. C++14, so that you can use those for loops without any warnings, without any errors. Right, so I'm just compiling and running this code. So this code I'm pasting in the chat window. This link you all will see in your chat window. You can bookmark this link. In future, you can refer back to it, because this is the crux of everything we have learned today. And hopefully tomorrow's contest will have problems related to string and maps. I have not seen the problem, so I don't know anything about them. But this discussion that we have done, if you revise that before tomorrow's contest, I hope you will be able to attempt that with more confidence. Right, guys? Okay, so this is where we stop. Thank you so much for bearing with me till so late. It is 1:20. Right, but hope it was helpful and it was worth putting in this effort. Perfect. Okay, guys, we'll stop here then.